I'm really excited about today's topic. I've thought long and hard about it, and it's actually going to be one of the topics that's going to be on my course um, that I'm creating right now. And I think it's super, at least for me, it's super helpful for me during this really, difficult time, unprecedented time that we're facing. It's something that really supports me on a daily basis. And so I'm going to get into it. I'm just putting, again, like if you want to stay in touch with me via social media, if you want to get to our YouTube channel and subscribe, you'll get all the videos of these webinars and also other videos. It's all on the chat, so you can check that out. All right. So today's topic is all about a skill, and I'm using that word intentionally. It's the skill of becoming a gift finder. What I mean by a gift finder is finding the gifts in anything that presents itself in life. Of course, when things go easy and well for us, it's relatively simple to find gifts, although you'd be surprised at how many people even have a hard time seeing the gifts when things go well. When things are tough, it's much harder to find the gifts in life. However, it's a very powerful skill because here's the thing: well-being and resilience is not only a function of the objective events that make up our lives, it's also a function of the subjective way in which we interpret them by what we decide to consciously or unconsciously focus on. So I'll give you an example. Do I beat myself up for failing at something, or do I focus on the lessons that I can learn from the experience? Like, I'll give you a very recent example for my life. So yesterday I was supporting a community college, and they wanted to do a 2-hour Zoom meeting supporting 50 people. And in my gut, in my heart, when they said 2 hours, I was kind of like, whew, 2 hours is going to be a long time for 50 people and everything. I'm not sure if that's the right format. I'll go with it because that's what they want. And it went fine. It went pretty well. They were happy with it. But for me, like, I knew that I wasn't supporting them at my absolute best. And it, because I knew that there was a bunch of things that could have been improved. And at that moment, it was so tempting for me to go into like, oh man, I wasn't in my game. It sucked. It wasn't that great. So tempting. And yet I I literally heard my voice says, hey Ronnie, like, you're teaching people about how to be benefit finder, gift finders, and then Allison too was next to me, my wife, and she's like, hey, okay, let's take a deep breath. Let's breathe into it a little bit and look at all the lessons that we can learn from this. And there's so many lessons that I learned from that meeting that I'm going to implement in other meetings, making it more interactive, making it shorter, having like using Nearpod, which is this awesome software, using other types of things. So again, being able to find the gifts. Here's other examples. Do I celebrate my victories and accomplishments, or do I take them for granted? It's so easy for us to just like, create amazing things and just kind of like be like, whatever. That's what, but can we pause and really take them in and celebrate them? Um, do I rejoice in the accomplishment of others, or do I feel jealous? And if I feel jealous, am I tender with myself and learn what I'm really longing for under the jealousy? Or do I guilt myself for feeling jealous? In life, things don't always happen for the best. At least that's not what it seems like, in the short term. But even though things don't always happen for the best in life, some people are able to make the best out of anything that happens. It's kind of interesting. And to me, like, a comforting thought is that even if you are more inclined to be a difficulty finder, finding all the difficulties in life, you can still train yourself to become a gift finder using mindfulness practice, and also honestly just by asserting some intentions. And we're going to get into those intentions in a moment. But before we delve into that, like how we become more of a benefit finder, I want to just tell you a few benefits that you would get from actually taking some time and asserting these intention to be that. So first, people who are more gift finders generally experience more resiliency. They learn from difficult situations faster. They bounce back faster. They're more adaptable. They're higher performers. They remember the big picture, and it's easier for them to remember all the things that are going really well in their life. So how do we become more of a gift finder? To do that, I want to start with a quick scenario that I want to ask you. and I want to present it to you. And this is a scenario that Sean Aker writes about in his book, Happiness Advantage. Okay. So here's a scenario. Imagine for a moment that you walk into a bank and there are 50 other people in the bank standing in line, waiting to be serviced. A robber walks in and fires his weapons once. You happen to be shot in the right arm. Now, if you were to honestly describe this event to your friends and coworkers the next day, do you describe this event as lucky or unlucky? Like, do you describe yourself as lucky or unlucky? It's all good, Shelly. Shelly has to hop off on another call. All good. You stay on the call only if you want. So I'll repeat. So you're at a bank, you're waiting in line, 50 other people with you waiting in line. Robber comes in, shoots his weapons once, you get shot in the arm. If you were to describe it to your friends, coworkers the next day, do you describe yourself as lucky or unlucky? Just think about that for a moment. Okay, cool. So Carrie said lucky. Now, I imagine that some of you thought unlucky and some of you thought lucky. I'll just be totally honest with you. When I first saw that, I thought unlucky. I was like, I'm unlucky. I had, like I was totally healthy before I showed up to the bank. How rare is it that a robber goes into a bank and shoots, and he shot only one, shot, and I happen to be hit in the arm, and I have, like my arm's shot, and it's very unlucky. Now, of course, a lot of people are like, well, no, but I feel lucky because I just got hit in the arm, right? Like I didn't get hit in the head. I didn't get hit in the heart. Like I'm still alive. And what's interesting is when I do this with people, it turns out that the room is usually about 50-50 split. About 50 people say unlucky, 50 people say lucky. Now, here's what's interesting. Even though the response differs dramatically, the most important part is that every brain does the exact same thing when they think about the scenario and they think about whether they were lucky or not. What your brain does is it invents, and that's an important word, it invents something called a counterfact. A counterfact is an alternate scenario our brains create to help us evaluate and make sense of what really happened. So if you said unlucky, you invented an alternate scenario. I was I was totally healthy and I could have been healthy afterwards, but now I'm shot. If you said lucky, you invented the scenario of like, well, I could have died and I'm alive. The crucial part is this. Both of those counterfacts are completely hypothetical. They're invented. And because they are invented, we actually have the power in any given situation to consciously select a counterfact that makes us feel fortunate rather than helpless. So, for example, when you have successfully accomplished something, note that you accomplished it. Set aside at least 10, 15 minutes to celebrate it with a dance, even 5 minutes, even 2 minutes with a dance or a song, or calling someone and telling them about it and taking in the joy. If you experience adversity, you will most likely be gripped by difficult emotions first. And, if you experience adversity that's really tough, that's actually not the time to become a gift finder right away. It's time to actually practice self-soothing, welcoming, self-compassion. So that's important, to take some time to set the intention to self-soothe. But after you self-soothe, you can take some time to recognize that you are not your emotions. You are not fear. You are not shame. You are not guilt. They are separate than your entity. And you can take a moment to feel more regulated and set the intention then to find even the tiniest gift in what happened. So just a quick note that I want to say about this. If you experienced a sudden tragedy, I mean, for example, like an unexpected death of someone, okay? It can take a long time for people to find any gifts in that. And frankly, some people never do. Some people basically say, you know what, this was awful, and I'm choosing not to find any gifts in that. And that's absolutely okay, of course. This should never come from a pushing place. It should never be like, oh, I need to find the gift. I need to find the gift. No, it's more of like, all right, once you're more regulated, is there a way for me to like soften into this? What are some of the things that I can find? So what I'd love to do today is get into a quick exercise to center ourselves, to ground ourselves, and to find some of the gifts that we can get from this unprecedented, difficult time. Because the truth is that we're all going through the ringer. This is hard. This is hard. And there are gifts here. There are gifts here that we can get and we can find. So if you're open to it, what I'd love for you to do, by the way, I'm sorry, I just worked out, so I'm a little sweaty. But what I'd love for you to do is just get into a mindful body position. What this means is your back is straight, your hands are on your lap, your shoulders ideally feel relaxed. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. If you feel a little too tired, just don't close your eye. Keep your eyes half open. And I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath in and breathe out. And with your next breath, as you breathe in, really bring your focus to your nostrils. Notice the opening of your nostrils. And as you breathe out, notice the opening of your nostrils again. How does the air feel as it enters your nostrils and leaves your nostrils? So just take just one moment to center. And with your next breath, I invite you to lengthen your exhalations just a little bit. So if you're breathing into the count of 3, I invite you to breathe out to the count of 6. Breathing out more slowly stimulates our vagus nerve. It actually helps us regulate, down-regulate our system, our nervous system. And as you take your next breath in, I invite you to scan in your mind maybe 1 or 2 gifts that you can find from this whole COVID-19 situation. Even if it's a tiny gift, what is that gift? And when you find it, see if you can feel it, not just know it intellectually, but see if you can just take a moment and let it reside in your body. Like feel some of the joy that you're getting from that gift, or some of the accomplishments that you're getting from that gift, some of the peace that you can get from it, or some of the joy that you can get from it. Just see where you can feel that. And with the next breath, I invite you to acknowledge yourself for finding the gift. And if you didn't find the gift, that's okay too. Just acknowledge yourself that you're going through this day by day, moment by moment, not only supporting yourself, but supporting all those people around you who depend on you in your household, but then also your students, your staff members. Take a moment and truly acknowledge yourself. We do not do that enough for ourselves. And you deserve it. You deserve it. Each and every one of us on this call is doing incredible work right now. So take a moment and acknowledge yourself for that. Love yourself up for that. See if you can do that and remember the gift that's coming with this. So go ahead and take another deep breath in at your own pace. And whenever you're ready, you may slowly open your eyes. In a moment, I'm going to divide you into groups of 3. And what I ask that you do is, number 1, share the gift that you found with other people. Again, if you did not find a gift, it is not a problem. You can say that as well. Number 2, share what you acknowledge yourself for. I think it's important that we do that. I think it's important that we get into that practice of not feeling like we're pompous, not feeling like we're self-centered or anything, just sharing like, yeah, this, I know that this is, you know, I do have this ability, or yeah, I'm the shit when it comes to this, you know what I mean? And not feel bad about it, okay? And what I ask for the listeners is to not interrupt, just hear what the gifts are, hear why to the person this gift is a gift, and then hear what they're acknowledging them for. And then what I ask is for the listener to take a moment and just acknowledge the person who spoke, like, hey, even just thanking them for sharing what they shared. And you can even talk about what resonates for you about what they said. Then I'm going to jump from group to group. I'll bring us back together in about 6-7 minutes, and then we'll kind of wrap up. So let me go ahead and break you into groups. All right, the rooms are open. Hanadi, are you able to join room number 5? Are you able to see it? Ooh. I don't know if you're with us. I'll join room number 5. Hopefully I'll see you there. Okay.
Been able to find out of this tough COVID situation.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think for me, I feel like I am a badass mother, but I'm not perfect. And I kind of understand and appreciate that. I guess the gift is spending more time with my family. And it's not always like perfect, but we're working things out.
Mm-hmm.
Making it happen. With a lot of laughter too. Mm-hmm. You have to, or you'll go crazy.
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying and agree. I've been lucky to spend some time with family too during this, and it's definitely comforting to have those people around. Lots of laughter and supporting one another.
Yes, I'm strong most of the time, but I had a very weak day yesterday where I just wanted to bawl my eyes out. And I think it helped. I think nice. I feel great today. I feel good today.
That's beautiful.
I just accept that I'm going to have those days during
Yeah.
this time, right?
Yes. That's to me, that's such you have such power with that. I felt such power coming from you as you were saying that, and to me that's the healthiest way to go through this, honestly. It's inspiring
Mm-hmm.
to hear you say that. I just I'm always really, I'm just so impressed by really any parent who is like not only able to parent now but also to work, and also to, and then to feel
Mm-hmm.
really good and recognize like, hey, I'm doing my best and I'm a good parent, and to like allow yourself to take time to feel the feelings, to really live fully, be alive, like notice the difficult feelings and allow yourself to cry, allow yourself for your system to let the stuff pass through. I think it's so easy for us to clutch on and like hold on to things and not feel it, and then like we explode.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep, exactly. I had an explosive moment, and it's so funny. I mean, my family just went like, "Okay, she's going to be in her room crying. Leave her alone." And today was just a start over day, and the
Mm,
kids were happy, and it worked out for everybody.
beautiful. Michael,
Thanks for
how,
sharing.
go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I guess what came to mind when you asked us to think about a gift and also an acknowledgement. What came up for me was recently asking my students for feedback in terms of like how my teaching is going, how the class is going, what's working, what's not working, what would the modified change. Like I definitely, when I do that, which I love to do, I think it's really important to my practice as a teacher, right, to get the
Yes.
Yeah.
it's really important, I think, to always look at it as a gift, because the students are being vulnerable to share that information with you first off,
Yeah.
and of course, like I have to make myself pretty vulnerable also to hear that information too, and you know, like a lot of it's positive, but even when there's a couple things that are negative, like that can
Yeah.
hurt sometimes, right? And
Totally.
I really had to like remember that this is a tough time for these kids, like
Yeah.
they are stuck at home when they like feel the kind of like right to be having experience like they expect it to be. And so, you know, some things are just going to come up where kids are frustrated about school in general, or even having our class online. So I definitely had to acknowledge that, and it was really important for me to see it as a gift, because I did notice that after some good constructive criticism, I was like hurting a little bit. I was like, I feel a little down, right?
Yeah.
Even though my activity was very positive.
Totally.
But you
And
build your relationship stronger with those children, asking them that. That's really good.
and then and then like the part that I acknowledge in myself is that having come back the next day and like feeling inspired by it, feeling like I'm getting growth from it, and excited to share actually the feedback my students gave to me with the class, so that I can really show them that I'm hearing them and give them some like really concise, concrete action plans in terms of how I can hopefully make it even better based on, with their feedback. So I feel like I can do that pretty well.
It's super impressive to me, honestly. Like I feel, I mean, you know, I taught for 15 years full time at Gunn High School in Palo Alto, and that was always nerve-wracking for me to do, honestly. And I mean, I did it, you know, because I agree with you, it's super important, and it really, it always really helped me with my teaching practice. But it was always you know, it's always, you really do, you feel, it's easy to kind of feel naked almost, you know. It's like, oh, like, okay, go judge me, you know. And I think it speaks volume of you as a teacher, and as a person, more as a person, Michael, like for being able to be still doing that even during COVID, you know, like when doing in this scenario, in this situation. So I just want you to know, I've always seen you as just like as an educator that so many people can learn from, in terms of your creativity, your kind of can-do attitude, you know, your the humor that you bring into teaching, like the fun, you know, that you bring in, but yet still being really, really putting all the scaffolding and all the benchmarks and all that to make sure that you're supporting your students in the way that they need. And it's just like, I just, it's like I just feel so happy for your kids to hear their teachers. So yeah.
And I really appreciate you saying that, and I'm glad to be here today. So thanks for offering this space and time to connect and talk
Yeah.
about this.
Absolutely. I'm really happy you're here. Just so you know, before I forget, you're talking about how it's easy to focus on that difficult eval, you know, like when everyone's giving you good ones and then there's one. We did a whole webinar on that, like on the negativity bias, how to deal with that. And there's a video on, I put all the webinars on YouTube, on my channel. So if you want, you can check that out and it might give you a little bit of support. And I'm sorry, by the way.
I already clicked on the link to subscribe.
Oh, right on. Cool. Awesome. Hey, I'm sorry that I didn't, it never worked out for me to speak at your conference.
Oh.
I would absolutely love to come and speak, just so you know, like whenever this whole thing ends. And
Now, keeping you in the loop for when we have our
awesome.
next things coming up.
Yeah. Right on, right on. Cool, man. Or even you know, virtually if it helps. So I'm gonna go ahead and close the breakout rooms, and I'll see you all back in the main room. Y'all can keep talking to each other if you want for another bit, but you feel free to join the main room as well. Hey, Michael. Welcome back. Let me just
Go check that out, the negativity bias one. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, check it out. I think I don't remember exactly what we called it, but I can, if you can't find it, let me know and I'll send it to you. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. All right. Hey, Allison, good to see you. All right. So I wanted to just end, because our time is already up. I wanted to just end by sharing just, again, like how grateful I am to have you all be here and join in this community and connect with one another and be there for one another. I'm